Hello, it's Tom Tevis with Fairway Mortgage, the Mortgage Whisperer.
Hi, it's Paula Baldwin with JPAR Real Estate.
Hey, we're just sitting here talking about the current market. So, Paula, what do you think the biggest challenge for you as a realtor in this market is?
I think at this time, we have a lot of inventory on the market. And the biggest thing is for a seller to understand the market that we're in today and the fact that if you purchased a home in 21, you may have overpriced in the multiple offers and trying to sell now after interest rates have gone up. And to get back out of that property, if you paid above appraised value, it's a challenge.
Yeah, not only what I was seeing is that not only you paid for above appraised value, but over the last 2 or 3 years, our values haven't gone up as much.
Exactly.
So,
Yeah.
in fact, actually over the last few months, because of seller concessions, we've seen values tick down in some neighborhoods just a little bit, but I think that's going to change drastically when we see interest rates come down over the next few months.
Yeah, and that's where we have some hope. I really feel like, Tom, and you can feed into this, but that we are going to see a decrease in those rates coming down, and many options out there for buyers to be able to buy a home again.
Yeah, and it's funny because I always talk about two numbers with buyers. I talk about the money you need to bring to closing and then your monthly payment.
Absolutely.
And so it's funny because whenever I talk with buyers, I used to always talk about all these things and then sort of wrap it up and say, well, here's the number that you're going to need at closing and here's your monthly payment, right? Well, I started changing that to the front of the conversation because the affordability is such a big issue that most people know what they're going to bring to closing, but they don't know what that payment's going to be. And so with higher interest rates, with higher values, with higher with higher insurance costs, with higher taxes, all these things are creating this affordability issue. So that's where I'm really seeing these lock and list programs, the 2-1 seller buy downs, they're really helping things make it more affordable for buyers.
Yeah. And home ownership, if you've never owned a home before, it is so important. And the feeling and the pride that comes with owning a home and that it's yours, rather than paying rent, and getting nothing back out of it and building equity.
And it's funny because I was talking about this with a buyer of mine just a couple of days ago that, buyers, you look for the neighborhoods, you look for the house, you look for the schools, you look for all these things, and then and that's important, and all that is and that's the realtor's job, is to find that perfect home. But what I see for buyers is they're about to change their wealth. These homes, especially in DFW, have appreciated handsomely over the last few years. And so you can buy a $300,000 house today and maybe appreciate to a $400,000 house in the next 4 to 5 years. That's real money. And so I just tell people, the sooner you can get into buying a home, the better, or the quicker, or the better, or the quicker.
All of it.
Or the better.
100%.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. So what are you seeing for sellers? What's their biggest
I'm trying to
challenge?
understand, well, really, the value that they may think they have in their home and what the comps are supporting right now we're not on the same page. And no matter how many facts and figures that you are providing to show this market, it's still a tough pill to swallow if your home isn't at the value that you think it is.
And, man, your job is so challenging to me because I know that when you go into a seller's listing appointment, they want to get top dollar for their house, but they want to pay bottom dollar for the buy side, right?
Very true.
And so they always say, in any market, you're going to buy high and sell high, or you're going to sell low and buy low.
Yes.
So those expectations really need to be up front.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I would say, the biggest thing, if you're buying or selling in this market is just to be maybe a little more realistic about, the expectations and, that there is give and take in everything. And as a realtor, I love my clients, all of you, and but I'm not only negotiating with my sweet buyer or seller on what I want to, what I'm recommending as far as what to make as an offer and why. But on the list side with the seller, why I'm saying we need to price here to get it sold and the least amount of stress and time as possible. But it's hard. I mean, I do this every day, 365 days a year, and
for many years.
And for many years.
Yep.
And
started when you're 12.
Yeah, I did.
Yep.
Yeah. But just to develop a relationship with a realtor that you just trust, that they're going to take the best care of you. And then when they're telling you this is where we're at, this is in your neighborhood, this is in the surrounding areas, this is what's happening in the market, I think at this time an experienced realtor really is a sound way to go.
Well, and that's also important, is that not only the numbers that you're going to list at and what the buyer's going to buy at, but then the main thing is if it's going to appraise.
Absolutely,
right?
100%.
So that's, those are those expectations that when you hire an experienced realtor that cares deeply about their clients, they're not, for the buy side, they're trying to get the least amount of money for that purchase, right? And then on the sell side, you're trying to get the most money for your client.
Yeah.
So, those numbers and those comps are really the big deal. I can't tell you how many times I've talked to, or I've heard from a seller that said, hey, we've got the nicest house in the neighborhood. Prove it through comps, and the, condition of your property and so forth. But that's, like I said, that's challenging from your perspective.
And there are some things that you're going to get a little bit more value for. If you have a 3-car garage versus a 2-car garage, an appraiser will give you more value for that. Or if you have a swimming pool, but there are general things that are maintenance items when you're a homeowner, with your roof and, if you need to recaulk your windows, things like that, that aren't going to necessarily add more value, but it will help sell your home. I mean, if a buyer's out there looking for a home that has a 15-year-old roof that's never been replaced versus a brand new roof, hey, it's probably going to sell your home a little bit quicker. But an appraiser, would they necessarily give you more value? Not necessarily. So you do have to consider that. But age of the roof does come into play when insurance is looking at it as well.
Yeah, and I'm not a huge expert on this. This is more your expertise, but I think staging a house is really important, right?
Yeah, and that is one thing I do when I go out and I meet with my client and I preview their home, and I really help stage that home that is going to be in an inviting atmosphere for any buyer that walks through the home. So that staging is very important. Decluttering, making that home shine like a model home. Yeah. That, I'm not keeping a home on the market longer and inconveniencing my seller for more days than we need to, because that's the biggest challenge a seller has when they're listing their home, is days on the market and leaving that home over and over again for showings. And so, from the start and the beginning, priced right is number one. Condition overall and having it ready, and all the information that I can gather from my client as far as any updates they've done, with carpet, cabinetry, I mean, if they've
and
added.
That's huge with an appraiser.
Oh yeah,
is
big
those
time.
Specific
Yeah,
improvements that you've done.
Absolutely, yeah. And then, professional pictures. When you're marketing and advertising out there, you want your home to shine in the best light, and pictures say more than words many times. So.
Well, I'll tell you, there was I can't remember where I saw it, but somebody was saying that no matter what you sell, somebody's going to look at that with a different eye than you are, right? And so when they look at a property, clean things up. Like there's people that have sold, I know that they go in and sell their car and they haven't even washed it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these little details like staging.
Details matter.
I mean, just the little details. Maybe a few flowers up front, right?
Oh, yeah,
something
absolutely.
that's going to make that a little more curb appeal.
It does start with a curb appeal.
Yep.
I mean, it 100% starts with a curb appeal. And when I go out on a listing presentation, I mean, it does. I walk up to the door, and many times realtors are standing there with the buyer, and we're looking even at the front door. Is it clean? Is it
Yeah.
fresh?
Right.
You know, but the mulch and things like that, it's very important for curb appeal. And like you said, the fresh flowers, or even a pot of fresh flowers in the front porch, you know.
Well, and if you don't show attention to detail with something like that, then they're gonna, I mean, I would think, well, they don't show any detail to this whole house. So why would I think that the air conditioning has been taken care of, or the plumbing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so it goes deeper than just,
Yeah.
you know.
And everyone, the way they look at it, their perception is their reality. And we get one shot, one time
Yeah.
to make a first impression.
Mhm.
And so I think that, you know, number one, that's going to sell your home a lot quicker, is being in the right condition and ready. And then being priced right. I would say priced right is even
Yep.
more important.
And marketing the home, right?
And the marketing, yeah. Yeah.
Paul and I work together. We have a lot of marketing flyers and items that we flood the house with. So,
Yeah.
you know, with payments, pictures, with you know, all the description from the MLS. And so, you know, I've always said this, whenever you go into a listing or an open house, if you go into several open houses or several different listings, you'll see the difference of level of marketing and the expertise of that agent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you walk into an open house and they might have cookies and lemonade, right? Well, Paul is going to have marketing items, how long this thing has been on the market, payments, down payments, all these things that really show the
Important,
difference.
yes.
Right, totally. So important to your buyers and sellers to know the stats, because that's really the
Absolutely,
That's-
the
that's
most
the-
important.
yep.
Yeah, yeah, that is the most important information. I mean, and to me, honestly, when I list a home, I'd rather not have the lemonade and the cookies, because I'm respecting a person's home, and I don't want a child walking through spilling things and getting crumbs
So
everywhere.
there you go. That's the expertise that you really need. And look, and I'll tell you the thing about Paula, and I'll just tell you, you know, I know she can hear me. She cares deeply. Like, the things that she does is because she cares so much about her clients that she would rather care about them than maybe lose them or whatever, right? I mean, and that is, and I work with a lot of agents and have over my years, and I'm always drawn to people like Paula that care deeply, that do the right things.
Yep. I say the same for Tom, and I do refer him a lot of business because I trust him. And that's the biggest thing. You know, when you work together with a lender and a realtor, I mean, it's a relationship, and we are taking care of the client. You are our number one. So, you know, when it comes to fiduciary, it's you. And we're going to make sure you're taken care of.
You know, I used to be in the restaurant business, and there was a firm that came in that talked about how you increase business, and they were saying how it starts from the time you drive onto their parking lot until the time you leave, right? So, I mean, it's immediately when we have a listing or a buyer or whatever, man, you're going to get all the information. And we're 24/7, and that really helps a lot too, because when we give all this information to your buyers or sellers, they're going to look at it and they're going to have questions. Well, you know, it's really important to care deeply about those people, and all those details will be taken care of.
Yeah, 100%.
So, anyway,
Yeah.
anything else?
Thanks. No, I think we can.
Okay, well,
wrap
we're
it up
gonna
there.
do these often. So,
Yes.
hey, we need your help. We're gonna try and call it something. So, if you're watching this, drop us a comment. And what should it be like? Talking with two experts, or the Paula and Tom should, you know. So,
Talking head.
oh, there you go. So, you know, I'm the whisper, and she's the pop.
I am the pop.
So let us know. You know, see what you think. But we're going to keep doing these things. We hope it brings value, and we
Yes.
really hope it helps you.
Yes.
So, Tom Tevis, Fairway Mortgage.
Paula Baldwin, J Power Real Estate. That's a wrap.